Hello everybody, welcome to another video about the Lord of the Rings LCG. My name is Ryan, and today we are going to be reviewing some player cards from the new expansion, the Wilds of Rhovanion. And joining me for this review is our, resident Lord of the Rings everyman, I think he calls himself, Mr. Liam. How you doing, Liam?
Not too bad, how are you?
I'm alright. It's late over here.
It's not too bad here. 2 o'clock, all good. You guys have got the nasty times, I think. Not me.
Yeah, it's 11 p.m. here in Australia. What's it, 2 there? And it's currently, I think, 6 p.m. for Joseph, who's also joining us for this review.
6 a.m.
Oh, yeah, 6 a.m., sorry. See, I'm getting confused. I remember when we did that review, by the end of it, I didn't know what day it was, where I was, who I was, what cards we talked about. No idea. So the last time we did one of these reviews, I think we were talking about the Crossings of Poros, and we promised people that we would do a cycle review, and then we never got around to it. So before we started this call, we had a quick discussion, and we decided that we'd get Liam to do the cycle review. Right, Liam?
Harsh. I'm not 100% sure it's fleshed out.
So what we're going to do, the way we're going to do this is we'll call out some cards, and Liam will say whether he thinks they're good, bad, or something else. Yeah?
Or good, bad, or I defer it to Joseph.
Okay, all right. First card. Here gone.
Oh, amazing. Love that guy. Good.
Rider of Rohan.
Good.
Gimli.
Good.
Andrath Guardsman.
I actually can't remember the card. let me look it up real quick.
There's your answer.
Yeah, well, that's probably a good point, isn't it? Nah, I didn't like him. I've seen Steve use him to good effect once or twice, but only once or twice.
All right, next one. Leaf Lock.
Nah.
Why not?
Nah.
I know someone who's coming around to Leaf Lock.
Yeah, I've
Really?
been starting to like him more and more.
Really?
I wish he was less expensive, but I find myself enjoying that 4 willpower mid-game and ent deck, but yeah, he's not amazing, but he's better than I was afraid.
I have one of him in my deck, but I just always feel that there's a better end. Like 4 willpower is great, obviously, mid to late game, but like there are just better ends to play.
That's a decent way of summing up the cycle. There's a better ent to play.
I don't know what that means. Khalil's headdress.
Good. I like Khalil's headdress.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Very good.
I'm trying to find another card. Here's one. Backtrack.
Let me just Google that one real quick.
I'm trying to pick the ones that I think will provoke controversy and discussion, but it's not working.
Okay, no, I'll give you my view on this one. I don't even remember reviewing this card.
I don't think we did. I think this was in the pack that came out before we actually started doing the reviews.
It seems so
I was
weird.
Still diapers when this came out.
Yeah.
But a whippersnapper. I'm gonna say bad. I think it looks really
There's some
is
controversy. I like it.
Remove X progress from the main quest to place X progress on a location in the staging area. But the main quest has to have no keyword. Is that happens quite often? Does it?
That's a pain in the neck. I don't like that because a lot of quests have little keywords that. I mean, I think that limitation is there for quests like Helm's Deep and stuff, where you can't even do it on any of the time quests because time is a keyword.
I'm just looking at that one again, and the picture is a man stuck in a snowdrift, so he's not going anywhere, right?
It's actually Bain. It's a Boromir off Rodress.
This is how I feel whenever you play this card in our 2-player games. I'm that guy. Because you won't let me progress. You're the Snowdrift, and I'm Boromir.
Classic turtle card.
Yeah.
So can you, if you overquest, can you play it before it's like, so say there was like 10 quest points to get over the quest card onto the next stage. If you went to like 15, could you immediately before the card flips, if that was the trigger for it, could you play that card and 5 and get rid of a location station area?
No, there's no window there. I think you have to do it before you put the progress on. So you have to have progress left over from the previous turn.
Yeah, so it's a terrible card then. I can't understand why you'd like it.
No, it's good.
I've got another card to bring up before we move on, because this goes back nearly a year now to this card. So brace yourself. Here we go. Old Toby, year-old Toby.
Old Toby. No, bad. It's got to be bad, right? I can't be wrong in that. Surely not. Surely there's not like some like janky, crazy way that he's like, oh mate, how could you miss this? This guy, broken.
All cards serve a purpose. Some cards are OP. Some cards are very meh. And then there's old Toby.
He's hilarious.
Exactly.
He's the comedy purpose guy.
Every cycle should have one comedy card.
Oh yeah.
All right, that was Liam's cycle review. What about Joseph's? Here we go.
All right, here we go. Thurinder, amazing. Javier, Jizan, pretty, very good. Wait no longer, very good. Rider of Rohan, okay. Steed of the North, pretty good. Dunedain Pathfinder, not very good. Here we go. Very good. Steward of Orthanc, pretty good. Andreth Guardsman, pretty good. Coining Trap, pretty good. Khalil's Tribesman, very good. Dunedain Pipe, pretty good. Khalil's Headdress, very good. Fireside Song, okay. Red Arrow, very good. Prepare for Battle, very good. Legacy Blade, excellent. Southern RPG, pretty good. All right, out of breath. That's all I get.
You know, you just made an absolute nightmare for me for doing the slides for this video as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Imagine trying to flash them all up.
Oh, thanks, Joseph.
You know,
it'd be like a conveyor belt.
You see that Disney just issued a warning for people with, for their Incredibles 2 movie, people with a certain condition might get seizures if they go see it because it's flashy. That's what's going to be like. The
epilepsy.
Slides going back. Yeah, going by it so fast.
You get Lord of the Rings LCG epilepsy from your card reviews.
I bet Joseph didn't even need to look at a list then either. That was all from memory. Alphabetical order in alphabetical order from memory.
No. If he was doing that from memory, it would be solely side quests and backtrack, nothing else. And Círdan. That's the only cards.
Círdan wasn't this cycle.
I know, but I mean, like, when you're asleep and you're dreaming about Lord of the Rings LCG, they're the cards you see in your dreamlike state is Círdan with loads of side quests and a 25-turn game.
Anyway, the cycle was good. I would still be up for a whole cycle review video at some point if you want.
That's the intro to it. That's just like a little taster.
Yeah, come back next week for MC Joseph.
Ryan, so out of this cycle, then just the last previous cycle question. Okay. If you had to keep one hero and shred the rest, which hero would you keep?
Ooh, well, I know the answer already.
Yeah? Is he little? Thurinder, really?
Is he little? What, you think Falco? Would I keep Falco over Thurinder? No way.
I think I would keep Hirgon personally. But then again, Thurinder does make a lot of cards work. That's a tough call.
Yeah, it is. Both those heroes are really good.
Poor old Quick Beam. Never got a look in. Never had a chance. He was first into the shredder. Head first. Straight in there. In fact, you can put 3 of him in there because he's not unique.
Be careful, it might crush your head. Look at that.
Yeah. I think he never really, what's the right phrase? Never lived up to his full potential. I saw like one deck posted with him.
There's got to be a better thing than never lived up to his full potential. There's got to be like a tree pun in there somewhere. We don't need to find one. There we are. Just didn't branch out enough. Sad to see Fast Red get shredded.
Well, I was only allowed to keep one. I'd prefer to keep them all. if you'll let me.
That's really fun too, but he's just can't go in every deck.
I mean, the logical extension of this is the old if you had to snog, marry, or avoid one of the heroes, which would it be? Go on, Liam, give me your insight.
Okay,
Folko?
okay.
You and Folko.
Yeah, you could take me away on his car after we get married, I guess.
You, him, and the donkey.
Just hitched, like. And then I think I would have to I'll marry Falco. He looks like he'd take care of me. And then I think I would I'd definitely
I'd definitely snog.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'd snog Kiergon because he's flashy and exciting. Like, he's the type of guy that probably has like a really fancy BMW parked outside his house or something. So I think I would snog him.
Mate,
and then
admit you've already snogged him. You've already snogged him.
He's a handsome fellow, you know. He's got one of them really nice, really fast horses, high horsepower. But and then I think I'd have to avoid. Probably would be quick beam. Seems a bit harsh though. I do like Ents. There's got to be someone better to. The other heroes are pretty good though. Who else is there?
Astrid, Gimli, Legolas, Khalil.
Khalil as well.
Thurindir.
I'll avoid Thurindir just because he's probably got Ryan Stank all over him.
Well, moving swiftly on. I shall neither confirm nor deny this. Shall we look at the first hero from this box? Is this someone you'd like to snog, marry, or avoid, Liam? Because this is your card.
This guy has got one hell of a beard. I'll be upfront about that.
Does that make all the difference for you? Does it? I just think it's the beard.
It shows character. That's what I'm saying. This is Brand, son of Bain. He is a hero, and he is 10 threat, and comes in at 2 willpower, 3 attack, 2 defense, and 3 hit points. Dale and Noble. I think we're going to be seeing this Dale keyword a fair amount this video. Each Dale character you control with player attachment gets +1 willpower, and response. After you play an attachment on a Dale character without an attachment, draw a card. And his little quote is, "He is a strong king, and his realm now reaches far south and east of Escarath." He's pretty good, right? As far as Dale decks go, like he's pretty sweet. 3 hit points is a bit wonky though, but I guess you could be throwing attachments on him.
The 3 hit points seems to be a theme for Dale. Kind of their biggest weakness, really.
I guess archery quests or quests with lots of archery might be tricky.
Yeah, just the early game trying to defend, that can be tough.
But I like him. I know you guys have played loads with the Dale cards. I haven't even got the box yet. It's hopefully going to be picking out this week. I think it seems to me really solid, especially obviously it's going into a Dale deck. Probably not a hero that you wouldn't put into a Dale deck. His response is basically what's going to be just driving your Dale deck forward, right? I can imagine drawing an absolute ton of cards with this. When playing things like the trap deck, where you're drawing a card every time the first enemy gets trapped that turn, then it's every time an enemy gets trapped, isn't it?
Every time,
so you draw, every time an enemy gets trapped. So you are drawing tons of cards through that way. And if the Dale decks are all around putting attachments on people and allies as well, allies and heroes, then I can see this drawing you an absolute ridiculous amount of cards as the game goes on. Is that something you guys have found? Or?
Yeah, I can draw you 2 or 3 cards a turn. It won't always draw you a card a turn. As a passive effect, it's really good. And you really need the card draw in a Dale deck. So I think it's certainly foundational for most Dale decks. And then that +1 willpower is huge as well.
I guess with the fact that it's drawing a card every time you play an attachment, it's effectively just replacing all your attachments. Like, you are going to be wanting to play attachments all the time, and every time you put them down, all these good things are going to happen, and you get to replace the card.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Is he really moves you through the deck, any attachment you put out, even if it's not the one you want on the character you're putting it onto, it replaces itself.
Right, which encourages you to put your attachments out as fast as you can. Yeah, even a character, but Dale gives you options for moving those attachments around, which makes an interesting deck.
What do you guys think about him in terms of his stats? Because he's pretty mediocre, isn't he, really? He's a very typical, like, linchpin leadership hero. You know, he's very similar to Khalil.
There's a 3 attack, which makes him a little... But in a Dale deck, I've found that I mostly quest with him anyway. So his 3 hit points are scary. But at least he has 3 attacks, so it's not just a 2/2/2.
So do you find when you're starting to pack loads of attachments out on the table, are you finding that your heroes are taking quite a few attachments? Because I can imagine that attachments will be boosting your heroes' stats anyway. So although the stats might be sort of like particularly great in any one area, 3 attack being nice, but not particularly amazing in any one area, you could potentially boosting certain parts of those stats with the attachments to your players as well. Is that something that happens with these Dell decks, or is the attachments mainly for the allies?
A bit of both, I find. So the one I've been playing is the one I made with this box and 1 core set. And so most of the time in that deck, you try to spread the attachments around, so like 1 per ally. But you can end up with a couple on brand. So he might get Celebrian Stone and Protector of Lorien. So he gets a couple of things, but he doesn't become like a tower attachment guy.
But his response encourages you to spread them out because you don't get that card draw if the character already has an attachment. It's just the first attachment that played on a character draws you that card.
I don't know if any of the decks you've played, Joseph, because you've played a lot of different Dale decks. Do they do things differently?
I found that some decks tended to pile the attachments on the hero, which does slow down your card draw. If you're able to get those allies out and put them out on the allies, I think it moves the deck faster. And since these heroes aren't great for defending, since they have 3 hit points and 2 defense, I don't think you really want to build a Baragon-esque tower out of any of them or anything. So I'm looking over my screenshots from all the games I played, and yeah, the heroes, I think most of the decks that I played, the heroes get more attachments than your deck, but that's probably just a preference thing. A lot of these decks had Lanwin in them too. Then she tends to get like a bow and a black arrow and stuff. So
yeah, I guess we could talk more about who the third hero should be when we do the next guy, Bard. But There's definitely a lot of different combinations you can do. But I feel like if you do play a Dale deck, you probably run both of the heroes in this box. I don't see any reason to ever play Bran, Son of Bain if you're not playing a Dale deck.
Right.
I mean, that might seem obvious, but the next hero I feel is a little bit more splashable.
Mm-hmm. I just want to note that this is probably one of the best leadership. It is the best leadership card draw hero effect in the game that I know of. Only if you're playing this deck, but that's pretty strong card draw for leadership.
I guess a major downside of him, you can't use the OG Bran, Son of Bain, can you? It's going to be quite annoying. I know a lot of people really love playing him, and you see him in a really powerful deck, so it'll be tough to put him back in the binder, I feel.
I tell you what, though, get your sarcasm, your British sarcasm.
Forward slash S.
They're all looking around, like looking at their mates, like, what's he talking about? I'm switching this video off. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Bran, Son of Bain.
He has definitely ugly ducklined himself into quite the swan, though, because the difference between the card art is incredible.
This new one, his legs are bigger than the guy's head.
Yeah, it's like a little tree trunks.
It's pretty great art, although it doesn't make you think of a good guy. He looks kind of mean, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's like proper consulting his beard, isn't he?
He's got a bit of donut in there. He's just trying to pick it out.
Trying to saving it for later.
Anyway, he is definitely a linchpin of the Dale deck. That +1 willpower is essential, basically, to build a quest well. The card draw is really foundational for keeping the deck moving.
Yeah, I must admit, when he was spoiled initially, I did not really feel excited about the guy at all in terms of playing him, but having actually used him, I really like him now. Just because Dale is all about synergy, really, between all those little cards, and he's, like you say, he's the sort of the cornerstone of all that stuff they want to do.
Personally, I don't think you really need to build him up stats and readying and doing lots of things. He's kind of just a support character.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about him, really.
He's good in a Dale deck. That's going to be our little chorus here. We're going to go back to.
Yeah. It might even have a tune by the end of the video. Bit of phallic symbolism going on with his belt there. Sorry, I just noticed that.
I got to go back and look.
Oh, I bet you have. This might come up in the decision whether you want to snog, marry, or avoid this guy. On another note, I think he might have the best chair out of all the heroes in the game.
He fills it well. I mean, his body shape, he practically is a chair himself. That is sturdy. That's not going anywhere.
The man mountain of Dale.
I like to think as well that his legs aren't bent at the knee. That's just like straight legs.
He's not only the biggest man in Dale, he's also the smallest.
Taller lying down than standing up.
It's a good piece of art, though. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I do like it.
I want to know who that is that he's consulting with. We'll never know what that person's face looks like.
Oh, that's Jerome. Do you not know Jerome?
Whoever it is, whoever that guy is, he has it's like a Dale ponytail. It's going to be our other thing we see all the man bun.
This is the hipster cycle we've seen. All the spoilers coming out of all the hipsters.
Beards, the pipes,
yeah,
the abs, man buns.
Okay, shall we move on to the next card?
All right.
Having thoroughly discussed Brand and his physique, objectified him totally. This is Joseph.
All right, next we have Bard, son of Brand, and I haven't entangled the family tree yet. I keep just getting confused, so I don't really care at this point. But he's another one. He has 9 threat cost. He's Spirit Hero with the 2/2/2/3 stat lineup, and he is Dale the Noble again. While playing an item attachment, Bard, son of Brand is considered to have the printed leadership, lore, and tactics icons. And his response: when a character leaves play, return each attachment attached to that character to its owner's hand. Limit once per phase. So what do you think about him?
What do you think, Liam, having not ever used him before?
Well, I think just going to the names real quick, it's funny. They probably put those son ofs in there to try and clear up their family tree a little bit, but it's just actually made it if they hadn't had that there in the first place. So. But I think you're right. Like he appears on the face of it to be much more splashable than the guy than Brand. Like you can see his abilities work in a deck that isn't necessarily specifically a Dale deck, but might have a lot of attachments or item attachments in there. The response, I think, is really strong for the Dale deck because it's a way of it's almost like card draw in effect because you've played the cards out of your hand, the attachments you want. I've loaded up a character, and then maybe you have to sacrifice him in an attack or something, or for whatever reason, your ally, maybe the encounter deck has started to punish your allies, and you lose them. A lot of decks, like for example, trap decks that rely specifically on certain card types, it can be a bit frustrating when a lot of your best ones get discarded or go into the discard pile early. So a way to get them to stop going into the discard pile, bounce them back to your hand and replay them, especially if they're cheap, then I think it's on the surface of things, it seems really strong.
Yeah, I found playing him, actually, the response, I don't use it all that much, but when I have used it, it's been useful. I'm trying to think of a time where it's actually happened. I think stuff like sometimes I'll put an attachment on a Long Lake Trader just so I can draw the card. He's another ally coming up later. And then he needs to die for some reason, just from like a chump block or archery or treachery or something. So it is useful to be able to get that back because you can play it again and replace it again because of Brand, if you see what I mean. And
I suppose actually it is less so of like traps as my example earlier, because the traps do get used constantly, whereas the attachments, when you play them onto a character, if that character is not going to die, then you've got no need to have the attachments bounce back from the graveyard. And I guess it's kind of almost like if they are dying, it's obviously not going super well if you're losing like allies every turn.
That's the thing. Dale's so stinking good. You don't really need this response.
Yeah, maybe we haven't really said that, but they're very good. Given, I mean, my personal opinion is they're amazing. having played just this box and the core set.
They can be built poorly, I think. They aren't a necessarily super easy to deck to build really well, but overall they're really strong. Yeah.
On the subject of this guy being splashable, do you think you actually would, though? It sounds a bit negative, possibly. I'm just trying to think, what could you splash him for?
His base stats aren't that good.
Exactly, yeah. So, like, you'll put him in, but he'll be quite mediocre. So you need a really good reason to be wanting that item off Sphere. Do you know what I mean?
The only thing I've thought of is you could make like a Bard and Baragond Armory deck, but the only thing you're really getting with his, I mean, you could put anything. You could put some healing items, like I think Athelas might be an item. You could fill the deck with interesting things, but you only get the discount off. And there isn't that many non-tactics armor attachments anyway, so you could get that Hauberk that comes later in this box too. So it could smooth something like that. But yeah, I think there's space to explore a deck that focuses on items, but it's certainly not obvious and doesn't hit you in the face right away. So,
do you see that as like a multiplayer kind of deck, the armory idea thing? Like you could pass out loads of items around the table, I suppose, like weapons and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, the idea would be to drop weapons and armor on Baragon cheap, get your Citadel plates for 2, and then just use the long leg trader to pass them out to everybody.
So were you guys finding that the first part of the card, the resource smoothing, I guess, was much more valuable? Is that worth it? The attachments you're playing, are they expensive enough that it is really helpful to be able to pay for any color attachment with this guy's resources?
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. I mean, just talking about the core set deck there, usually I give this guy Steward, so he's got a lot of money. You can use those resources to play the like lore attachment that's coming later in this pack. The Map of Rhovanion is really useful to do that. And there's also, we have to keep talking about cards we haven't reviewed yet, but there's an event that gives loads of cash to Dale characters, essentially. So if you drop all load of cash on Bard, you can keep playing cards. So you're drawing so many cards, you're playing cards because of all the resources you can generate. Is great.
I think one of the other best things about him is he's Spirit. You need a Spirit, at least one Spirit hero in a Dale deck.
Yeah.
And he provides it.
How come you say that?
Because of another card we haven't talked about, King of Dale. Really.
It's really nice, the pair of these two cards. You got one that sorts out your card draw. And then this guy, whilst he doesn't necessarily like accelerate your resources by himself, the smoothing ability is basically allows you much more access to play the cards in your hand as much more freely with your resources. So the pair of them together, they just complement each other really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that makes this build so strong is they've got inbuilt draw, inbuilt willpower, inbuilt resource moving, and the attack King of Dale, that basically removes the problem of needing resource match for allies as well.
Right.
So it kind of you just throw them all in the same deck and you don't need to worry about any of that stuff anymore, which is, that's good if you just want to play a deck without too much effort in terms of thinking about what you need to build. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does simplify your deck building a bit. It can be tricky in the first few turns when you start drawing cards you can't play yet. Oh, speaking of King of Dale. But yeah, it does make building a lot easier.
And I think that's good. I think that's
good.
And
it opens up more options too.
Yeah, it's good for people who might want to jump in at this point as well. They can just pick up this box and a core set and they got a really strong deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Core set in this box and good to go. It kind of, in some respects, reminds me a little bit of when Outlands came out, and I know there was a bit of like, I want to say like controversy. There wasn't like controversial or anything, but there was a bit of like negative noise regarding Outlands because of how strong they were and how self-contained they were. It's just like, here is a pack. It is the Outlands pack. Here are the cards you need to make an Outlands deck. Chuck in some other stuff that you've got and you're good to go, and it's good enough to be able to beat all the quests up to this point pretty much. And I kind of feel like this is what they're doing again. It's like almost kind of like a little bit of a sort of a break point. It's like, okay, the game's been out for quite a while. There's tons of stuff. If you've got all of the stuff, then you are making some really clever, interesting, fancy and powerful decks. But if you don't and you want to get into the game, well, look, buy this starter set and buy this box set and you've got an interesting and a very powerful deck self-contained in it, which I think is good, actually. I like it.
Me too. I agree.
Yeah,
it's not as simple and you aren't just throwing stats at the table. It's a lot more interesting to play. But I think new players could still handle it.
I love playing them, honestly. I find it so fun to play. Mainly because it draws so many cards, though. That's probably why. Like, it's just, you literally draw in. I mean, I use Beravor as the third hero, and you're drawing probably 4 cards a turn.
Minimum, yeah.
Beravor, Glaewine, Brand.
And then your native 1, your basic 1, and then a couple off of Brand, yeah.
Could see Liam type in there.
Yeah, it's just every now and then I just can't hit what you say. It gets like really, really laggy, but it's absolutely fine. I just assume that you're making very salient points and completely wholeheartedly agree with everything I say. But if I don't,
I think the recording's picking up.
Oh, is it? That's good then.
Yeah.
If I don't respond to a question, though, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Any further thoughts on him before we move on?
Looks good in a Dale deck.
Yeah. No, you sing it in tune. All right, so these next ones, what we've decided to do is sort of do them in pairs. So we'll do the ally and the attachment that goes with that ally, because it makes it really weird to talk about this ally when you can't talk about the thing that he's supposed to be wearing. So here we go. So this is the Redwater Sentry. He's a 3-cost leadership ally, 0 willpower, 1 attack, 2 defense, 3 health. He is Dale traded, which will come as a surprise to some of you, I'm sure. Warrior, and reduce the cost to play armor attachments on Redwater Sentry by 1. Redwater Sentry gets +1 defense and gains Sentinel while it has an armor attachment. So he wants some armor. So next card is Hoberk of Mail. Is it Holberk or Hoberk, Joseph? What do you say?
I say Hoberk, but I'm American, so
okay.
Probably wrong.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong. All right, I'll say Holberk. Oh, I'll say Hoberk. Hoberk, here we go. So Hoberk of Mail, 1 cost leadership attachment, item and armor, attached to a Dale or warrior character, limit 1 per character. Attached character gets +1 defense and +1 hit point if attached character has the Sentinel keyword. So the combo here is that you can play this on the Redwater Sentry for free, and the Redwater Sentry goes from 2 defense to 4 and from 3 health to 4. So he effectively becomes a mini Baragon, which is
draw a card.
Yeah, and you get to draw a card if Brand's around. So that's my assessment. What do you think?
I think he seems really, really good once he gets his armor on. Like, that's nuts. He gets Sentinel as well. Like, oh, so good. Yeah, I think he looks great. Costs. I guess you are paying 4 for the whole combo, aren't you? But it's nice.
Well, not really. You reduce the cost to play armor, so he's 3 at most, maybe less, with King of Dale.
Are you guys chucking any other armor?
I found that the Hoberk is usually enough. The other good piece for him is the Raiment of War. It's really good for him. But the thing is, you can put Raiment and this Hoberk on him, which seems insane. And then he becomes 5 defense and 6 hit points. But yeah, I've just been putting the Hoberk on because it's free. And 4/4 is honestly good enough if you have any defend the box with this guy. Yeah, my group played that quest this week, and I had all 3 of these guys out, and I was pretty much defending the dragon people. These little allies. It was insane.
Does seem such good value. 3 for if you don't have in your hand, like it is quite expensive for those stats, really. But as soon as he
average
gets
still, it's 3 costs for 6 stats, so it's still okay.
To be honest, this is leadership, and this guy compares very favorably to leadership allies, I would say, especially defensive ones.
He can defend just as well as the heroes. For 3 costs, that's not too bad.
And I hardly ever pay for this guy either.
Right, you usually reduce the cost with King of Dale, which we'll come to eventually here.
Yeah. I mean, in the context of a core set and 1 expansion card pool as well, this guy is off the scale.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good. The core set allies are terrible compared to this guy.
Yeah, I'd much rather pay 3 for this guy than 2 for a little Gondor jump.
Guard of the Citadel.
Yeah, that guy.
When I was looking at the allies in this pack, obviously sort of like one of each sphere, he was the one that stood out to me. And they've all got like a little combo going on, but him and his combo stood out to me for me to be the strongest on paper or card.
I think the other really strong thing about him is he can easily go in a different style of deck. The Spirit guy, he's best in a Dale deck because he needs the buff of which brand? Brand. He needs that power buff from Brand. But this guy, he doesn't need that. So it's just him and his Hobber, any old deck, still 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
So he's good everywhere.
Do you consider the fact that you have to give up 6 card spots for him to be a downside, of playing him?
That's a good question. In my experience, I would say no. I'm always happy to see this guy and never think, don't want to play this guy. Always want to get him on the table. And you move through the deck so quickly when you play Dale that
when you play your Dale.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, what I was going to say is even if you're looking for some willpower, you can still play this guy in quest for 1 at that point.
If he has his attachment,
yeah. But sometimes, though, I'll give him a Bow of You, which is another card coming up later, just to draw the card again. Just put an attachment on him just so you can draw a card and get through the deck and fix the arrangement later. So even there, he's all right. He's questing for 1. That's not great for 3, but the thing is, later you'll need him for defense.
The other thing is, he can still take an attack with armor. I mean, even a 4 attack, he can survive. I mean, he can survive everything that a Defender of Ramos could.
That's a good comparison for him, isn't it, really? Defender of Ramos.
He's going to take some damage, but if you get his armor on later or heal it off, really not bad.
One thing I have found with him, I don't know if this ever happened to you, Joseph, but sometimes he'll get 3 damage, and then I'll have to discard the Hoburg for some reason, like to a shadow effect or something. Yeah, so he dies at that point. So that's the only thing I've found that is a little bit bad about him. But even in that case, like it doesn't happens like 1 time out of 100.
Yeah, I thought of that as interesting.
Don't let him take his mail off.
Yeah, that's the only thing keeping him alive.
What do you guys think of the Hoburg? Because we're discussing these together. Because this is quite a good card, considering it's not restricted, first of all.
Yeah, I think I heard a rumor from somebody who should know that this was supposed to be restricted. Yeah, it seems like it should be to me.
Yeah, the warrior. I mean, like being able to put it on any warrior is pretty nice.
Made me think of another combo that would be entertaining. I have a favorite way of defending, which is this Defender of Ramos, and then Arwen can buff him and give him Sentinel. If you gave this guy this attachment to the Defender of Ramos, then use Arwen to give him Sentinel, he would have +1 hit point until the end of the round, and then he would die if he had a damage on him, right?
That's the most sadistic combination I've ever heard. How can I make the Defender of Ramos die with this? It's like you're getting his hopes up. Yeah. You've got his hopes up that he was going to live, and you're like, just lost myself 2 cards.
Arwen's favor was the only thing keeping him going.
What does the Defender of Ramos come to, though, with that combo? He'd be 6 defense with 2 health, right? Because you put this on him, and then he's 5. Is that right? With
Arwen, Hobberk, and Defender of Ramos. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, so he's pretty solid. And then when you Círdan him, he goes up to 7.
Yeah.
The other character that comes to mind with this Hoburg is Beregond. Just because this is free if you put that on Beregond. But to be honest, most Beregond decks don't really use... Well, some do, actually. So sometimes I've seen Beregond decks that have a little bit of leadership in.
Right, but it's not standard. Yeah, but that comes to the restricted keyword again. It seems easy to be able to put this on top of everything else that Beregond wears.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned a Beregond deck earlier with Bard, Son of Brand as well, which would allow you to play this.
For free and move it around. Yeah, the Redwater Sentry even has the cost reduction like Beregond does. He is a mini Beregond.
And you can get 3 of him and Beregond if you want. Also, the art on this is really, really tasty. Beautiful picture if you see it full bleed. I think the artist put it out there somewhere. Really? I'm pretty sure I've seen the whole thing, yeah. Nice. I can put it in the video if I haven't dreamt this, but yeah, it's a really nice picture. Very snowy. Looks like the UK every other 3rd January. That old bit of snow that we always get.
Yeah, he has the man bun too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's nice art, isn't it?
Should we move on to the next guy?
Yeah, sure. I don't have anything else to say about this one. Do you, Jim?
He is awesome. I don't know what else to
say. No, it's really hard to think of anything like negative about him. He's really good. I mean, I guess like you have to draw him in the right. Like you don't want 3 of his males in your hand and then be looking for him. But I mean, just there's so little negative things to say about the card. But struggle.
If I draw a male first, I've been dropping it on Brand. He'll take my first, do my first defense at 3 defense, and then I'll move it off him later if I can with bartering or the long leg trader.
It's quite nice for Brand because it makes him 3-3-3-3 because he gets the +1 willpower from having the attachment.
You can always sacrifice him and get him killed, and then get the attachment back with Bard.
Great value right there.
I did actually play a game earlier where all 3 of my sentries died.
Oh dear.
Well, they lived until the end. That's the thing. They did enough. They defended through, if you know what I mean. So by the end of the game, I didn't need them. So it was actually useful to get the male back and put it on somebody else, just so I could take a hit. But that's what I like about these guys. I think you said that when we first started talking about him, Joseph, that you don't feel like he needs Raiment of War, really. And nor do I, actually, having played with him. I don't feel the need to power this guy up. There's never been a time where I thought, I would have won that game if I had Raiment of War at Sentry.
Right. You honestly could run Raiment of War instead of the Hauberk just because it only costs 1 to put on him. Then he's 2, 4, 5, which is amazing as well.
Is it not really tempting to have Remnants of in Dale decks anyway, just because they don't, if they go on him, then that's great, but there's loads of other targets for it. Like Remnants of War is one of those cards that can be played on so many different allies or heroes and make it really good. Are you not finding the need Dale decks? Or?
I've got an opinion, but what's yours, Joseph?
The advantage of Hauberk is you can put it on anybody in a deck, and then you can move it around. So you can make a Bard the defender, then move it around. You can't put the Raiment of War on Bard, so you have to wait for this guy to come up. I guess you can put it on the Tactics guy too if you're running that. But the Hauberk are just so much more flexible to play this kind of deck. So
you are just running one or the other at the moment.
Yep, I played some decks that have both of them, and then you can make this Redwater Sentry insane. But I don't think it's necessary, and I think the Hauberk is most efficient, but they're both really good.
I always see Raiment of War as more an attachment where you're planning to get multiple uses out of the defender or the character, just because it gives +1 attack and defense. I know it's awesome on defenders, but I feel like it might be better in a deck with some readying, which mine doesn't have. So something like Círdan, for example, would be somewhere
I just love it on a defender because that +2 hit points.
Yeah, I think it is better on Defender of Ramas just because he's wimpy in the health department.
Yeah.
Very long-winded way of saying he's only got 1 health. So he's always at risk of those shadow effects.
So I suppose you've got the Warrior of Dale as a target as well, potentially for that war, which gives you 6 viable targets in your deck. I don't know if there's any other warriors that might come later for Dale potentially. I'm not sure, but or maybe your 3rd hero or any of your 3rd heroes fit in the bill for that.
Wiggloff coming up, he'd be pretty good for Raiment. He's a few packs down the road, 2 packs.
I've lost.
Which is probably going to be next year.
Yeah. Oh, the bitterness. Yeah, I've forgotten what he does. What's his ability, Joseph? I can't remember.
When you put him into play, you can attach an item from your hand to him for free.
Oh, okay. That is awesome.
When you play him from your hand. Yeah, so I don't remember his stats, but they'd probably be pretty good for him. He's a warrior and scout, which is interesting.
Oh, you can drop him into that scout deck that you've been telling me about.
So good.
All right, shall we go to the next one?
Okay, North Realm Lookout is a spirit ally. He is Dale and Scout, and he costs 2 with 1 willpower, 1 attack, 1 defense, and 2 hit points. North Realm Lookout gets +1 willpower and does not exhaust a quest while it has an item attachment. Okay, so the attachment that comes along with him potentially is a 1-cost lore attachment map of Rhovanion. Item attachment attached to Dale or Scout character, limit 1 per character. Response: after attached character commits to the quest, place 1 progress on the active location. So that means he is really kind of questing for 4. Well, like he's questing for 3 and then 1 guaranteed quest progress. Because I did think when I first read these attachments that go with these guys, and the same for the tactics attachment that's coming up, I did wonder why they'd sort of put them in this way rather than just saying like +1 power. It's a more direct way of doing the thing that it's trying to do. So with this one, it's like you are put in that one. Even if you fail the quest, well, guess what? You still get a progress in the active location. The tactics one coming up later, it's like even if you don't manage to kill the guy, you still get that damage, or you don't get past its defense, you still get that damage. So at first I was like, oh, it's a really weird way of doing it, rather than just giving them the plus willpower or the plus attack. But it's actually a much better way of doing it, really. It's a different way of doing it, but it's a much better way, because it's really direct. It's like you get this effect anyway.
So
right.
like you
doesn't just give plus 1 willpower, it gives 1 direct progress. You can't fail to get that progress, no matter how poorly you're questing. And the same thing for the bow of you, no matter how puny your attack, even if you're attacking that 5 defense dragon for just their basic 2 attack or 3 attack, you're still going to get a damage, which is arguably better. You do get stuck behind the immune to player card effect sometimes. So then that kind of nerfs these cards pretty hard. That happens less often.
And I guess there are some negatives, but again, pretty rare to having like smaller stats than higher stats. Like sometimes you get like cards where it's kind of like, you can only attack this guy if your stats are at, like willpower is at this and things like that. But again, few and far between. I think generally speaking, I feel like this way of doing it, the more direct approach, is stronger.
My favorite part about this card is it can get people out of location lock. Even if you aren't questing enough, even if you fail the quest, you can still put up to 3 progress on these 3 characters and clear location out and keep moving on the next location. I think is huge. I like it a lot.
It got me out of a sticky situation in the King's Quest, which is the 3rd quest from the box. I think I was starting to get to the point where I was location locked, and I had one of those cave locations active, and I managed to get rid of it because I had 3 of these.
Yeah.
But one thing I think though about this is, if everybody is playing this map, then it starts to lose. There's a bit of, I don't know if diminishing returns is the right phrase, really, but there's only a certain number of these you'd really want out. You want 12 map of Rhovanion out, if you know what I mean, because they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, you could have too much location control. If you have a location control deck that tries to knock locations out without traveling to them,
yeah,
it doesn't do much. And if you have low quest point locations, you don't need very many of them.
I think we played a game the other day where you had the Steed of Imladris, I had a couple, and that active location just didn't know what hit it because it was
never stood a chance.
Yeah. So I mean, imagine somebody else was there and they've got specs. The cards wouldn't be doing anything.
Right. Legolas.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So that's not a reason that this isn't amazing. It's just there will be a point where this is overkill.
Enough of them.
Yeah. You can have enough maps of, but I don't think you can have enough North. This guy is amazing. Speaking from experience, not exhausting to quest, even though he only hits for 1. Yeah, it is very good because it combos so well with the bow, which is coming later, because you can give him the map and the bow, and then he quests for 3 and basically guarantees a damage on an enemy. Another thing, having played through loads of quests with this guy, is that sometimes, like, it's not a very good quest, but the Dead Marshes, right, has got tests where you need to exhaust characters with willpower. And so this guy, you can quest with him, and he's available for a test like that. It's just so good.
Shadow of the Past would be another good one for him too. He can quest.
Oh yeah, and then do a hide test. Yeah. So this guy is again the same as a Sentry. I'm always happy when this guy shows up.
And if the Sentry was a mini Barracuda, this guy is a mini AON. He can quest for 3, put out a progress, so that's 4, and still be ready to do anything else. And he doesn't get damage from Necromancer's Reach or anything like that. 3 cost for an AON. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's awesome. And 2 health. Oh yeah. He can take 1 archery if needed.
It is an amazing card, really, isn't it? If you don't put the bow on him, though, so the bow is a really nice combo for him. Him questing for 3, getting a progress in the active location, and then guaranteeing 1 damage in one turn for hardly any resources is really powerful. If you don't put the bow on him, are there any other uses for his, the fact that he's not ready to exhausting to quest? Obviously, there's we spoke about some treachery cards that can be quite punishing for exhausted characters, but are there any other sort of like beneficial uses to him being ready? Is there any other like tricks you can do? Or?
Yeah, since he doesn't exhaust a quest, you can put the Spear Hood on Cloak on him, quest, and then during the combat phase, he could ready up Sentry again or something. Then you could cycle Spear Hood and Cloak with your Long Lake Trader. It's kind of a big combo that's a bit tedious to keep going, but That's one thing you can do with them. Other thing you can do is just attack for one.
Yeah, and to be honest, when you've got 3 of them out, though, that adds up. It's helpful.
Or if a shadow card says exhaust a character, and you exhaust that last defender you had up, or attacker, just exhaust this guy too. And he has the man bun. Look at that.
Oh my goodness, what's going on? Hey, and he's a scout.
Mm-hmm. The scout's deck still needs some love. This guy's not as good in the scout deck because he doesn't get Bard's willpower buff, so then he's only questing 2, but still not bad.
Yeah, he's solid. Awesome. All right, so this next one is Joseph's. It's the Warrior of Dale and the Bow of Yew.
All right, Warrior of Dale is a 3-cost tactics ally, has 0 willpower, 2 attack, 1 defense, 3 hit points. Dale and Warrior. Makes sense, right? Have reduced the cost to play weapon attachments on Warrior of Dale by 1. Warrior of Dale gets +1 attack and gains ranged while it has a weapon attachment. And then the Bow of Yew, 0 cost tactics attachment item weapon attached to a Dale or Warrior character. Restricted response after attached character is declared as an attacker. Exhaust Bow of Yew to deal 1 damage to the defending enemy. So I feel this combination is quite strong as well. You end up with a 3 attack ranged character, which is good, with 1 direct damage. So it's basically a 4 attack ranged character. The only thing that doesn't shine quite as well is the Redwater Sentry. The Warrior of Dale, he gets a cost reduction. Bow of Yew is free. Doesn't help.
Maybe we'll get another weapon that he might like later in the cycle.
Yeah, there's not that many weapons Dale currently is there.
The Raiment of War is a weapon, isn't it? But I feel like this... What's the point of giving him an extra 2 health, really? Unless you want to soak some archery up.
Right. It's not bad to have 5 health, but with only 2 defense, you aren't... And with ranged and 4 attack, why would you want
exactly.
to do that?
Most of the other weapons are restricted in some way, aren't they? There's not a lot that work for them really at the moment.
They're all for elves.
Yeah, or dwarves.
Yeah, dwarves have a lot.
Dwaradelf Axe, but it needs to go on a dwarf character, so that's no good.
You're not thinking of any other weapons that can go on it. Am I missing?
Is Dagger of Westerness? Is that?
I think that's a hero only. Yeah, and the Dwarven Axe is a hero as well.
Mm-hmm.
What about Elven Spear? Can that go on an ally?
No.
It's a hero.
Spear of the Citadel.
Yeah.
And Remnants of War. And then we get going. There's not much.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing. I'm just skimming through here and very little. So at the moment, he's a bit lonely in terms of what he can actually hold.
And that combo of putting the bow on the North Realm Lookout, I think I prefer that. I guess it doesn't matter, but that's a really, you know what I mean? It's like a viable option for the bow. Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he will get the extra 1 willpower when he gets a bow, which can help sometimes. It's not massively impactful, but I only run this guy as a 2-of in my deck just because he's not one you want to see early. You kind of want to see him once you've got your board set up. Because he's also difficult to get down. You can't get him out without King of Dale.
I found the other combo.
Oh, go on.
Spear of the Mark and Nor Am I a Stranger.
Wow. Why would you ever do that? Is there?
That's the only other weapon he can have besides the Raymond.
So Nor Am I a Stranger would give him the Rohan trait, and then he can hold that spear.
Pure gold right there.
Value.
6 card slots.
Can you use and you could use Hands Upon the Bow and shoot into the staging area too.
I want to see that deck. Can you build it, please?
So it's obvious we need some more weapons.
Yeah. Because there's not a lot right now that you can use this production on, really.
1 card in the whole.
Yeah. But having played with him, I do like the guy. He's just another solid goes in a Dale deck type card.
And he wouldn't have to go in a Dale deck, honestly. Again, that willpower buff from Brand doesn't help him much, so he could just be good in a range deck.
Yeah, that's true.
Deck, Hirgon deck.
Yeah, I mean, this Bow of Yew is pretty splashable. this would be decent on any attacking warrior, like Azane's Silverbeard or all of those other warriors I can't remember right now. I don't know why Azane, this one in particular. I suppose it's because he's a very offensive character.
It's more direct damage, so
yeah. So he's kind of
I definitely can see this bow going into a lot of other decks.
Would you put this in your direct damage deck?
Yeah, I think you probably would.
It's got a different direct damage. You can't throw it around as easy.
No, but you often will soften up a big guy. You don't have like the burst in your hand, or you just soften them all up, and then they come down and you just like finish them off. So this definitely would be a good way to get through easily against those high defense guys, rather than committing a ton of people to get past that defense and do that one damage. You just commit one little guy with a bow, just finds the right shot. I quite like that. I think it's quite nice.
Spoiler alert for King's Quest. There's the third one in the box. There's a dragon that doesn't like to get hit, and this bow of you is nice for softening up that dragon. 1 damage.
It's quite unusual to have a quest in a box set that has cards that are good against the quest. Normally it's like, here are a bunch of really cool cards. Here's a quest that counters that exact style.
Here's a reindeer and a race across Harad. Yeah. The other thing this bow is going to really be good for is the Nazgul and Morale. You can take 1 damage, for instance. You get 3 of these out and attack them once, then that's 4 damage down. That Nazgul's pincushion.
I see a plan coming together there. You might be able to kill that guy in 1 attack. Could you?
You could with...
What's he got? 5 health, and he can only ever take 1 damage at a time.
Azane was in the attack, you couldn't you?
Yeah, probably. Okay,
or
Azane double wielding bows.
He can put 4 damage down at 1 attack just by himself.
Actually, on the subject of double wielding them, it's actually quite nice to get 2 of these, Dale. Because he does a lot of damage then.
Yeah. This is your deck has only 2 of the archers and 3 of the bows. You could do easy.
Yeah. This is really nice to see early game when you're playing Dale, because it replaces itself, because you get to draw a card and it's free, and it gives your hero 1 willpower from doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm never sad to see this, just because it helps power you up.
I did come across a weird situation with this bow recently. I was playing next to you with a Harad deck, and you can't put the bow of you on Yazan because he's a ranger, but not a warrior.
Is Yazan not a warrior?
Yeah, he's just a ranger.
Yeah, Jubair is the warrior. So he's actually a really good target for the Hoburg, where we're talking about those Harad allies. He's all because he goes up to 4 defense and
4 hit points.
Yeah, that's another mini Baragond with a built-in burning brand.
That's so good.
Do you think some kind of like weird Harad Dale deck might work? Because you always wanted to put a bunch of attachments on Harad guys, aren't you? And you could just play one-offs for the really expensive guys.
Sorry, I'm giggling because I know Joseph's played one.
Oh, have you?
I did, yeah. I pulled one off Rings DB. I think it has potential. When I played, I think it had some cards I didn't need in it.
Oh,
yeah, I haven't tried to build one up yet. I did beat some hard quests with it, so it did pretty good. They both need, I would be interested to see if you can crunch all the cards together. I don't like Harad decks that only run one each of those big allies, because you can't rely.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what's the point, right? But,
yeah, you just kind of just play them. But I guess the stability of the deck could be in the Dale allies, and then the punch being the Harad allies. Would it be a bit awkward with the heroes, though? I can imagine it being quite awkward with the heroes.
Yeah, this particular deck that I had Khalil in it, Khalil's headdress, but it only had a couple Harad allies in it, so I wasn't getting full value out of him. But I mean, just one each of the Harad allies wouldn't be bad, since the deck you're running, Ryan, has all 3 of those spheres, right? And with traffic from Dale, which we'll get to eventually here, you can play them fairly easily when you get that big boost of resources. And thematically, it makes sense, because that's the whole Harad allies coming to Dale for refuge.
I don't think there's much more to say on the Warrior of Dale. I love the artwork, though. I just want to say the artwork is really cool.
No man bun. He let it all.
But he's gone for the man bun in the beard though. It almost looks like he's kind of in a knot. Like.
Yeah, who knows what's on the back of that head? Maybe this is the guy who's talking to King Brand.
Yeah, could be
in the picture. So he's got that ponytail going on. All right, shall we move on to King of Dale?
Go for it. Your card.
Yeah. Okay. So this is. Oh, go on, Liam.
The elusive King of Dale. Is this card important, would you say, in Dale decks? Like, nah. I'm not sure if we've mentioned it yet. Like,
you've got no reason to run this.
One of at best. It's a unique, so you should only run one of really, because you can only play one. Right? So.
Kind of expensive. Don't run it.
Yeah, two. Yeah, right.
And Spirit's pretty expensive.
Let me read it. Hang on. Then you can finish mocking it. Sarcastically, I'm mad. All right, so King of Dale, unique spirit attachment, cost 2. You've said all these things already. It's a title attached to a Dale or Esgaroth hero. Planning action. Exhaust King of Dale to reduce the cost of the next Dale ally you play this phase by 1 for each different player attachment on attached hero. That ally does not require a resource match. Okay, so I'm just going to say this is amazing. And top that.
You literally cut out for that entire sentence. Just
same for me. All I heard was
sentence?
I'm just going to say top that. That's what I got.
Okay, let me try that again. I'm just going to say. Got you. I got you there. Okay, so I'm just going to say it's amazing, right?
Yeah,
that's it. It's you need it. You need it to resource smooth. You need it to reduce the cost of all those allies. It benefits from having more attachments on a hero. Once you get about 3 attachments on the hero, all the allies are free. It's really good. It makes it too easy.
Almost.
So what's your optimal 3 attachments and on what hero?
In the deck I run, I think probably this itself.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Let me think. So if I'm trying to set up the deck early game, is anything really. Anything get onto Bard is helpful. So it could be Bow of You and this to make a 2-cost ally free. Most of the time, though, I'd probably aim for Protector of Lorien, this, and Steward.
Yeah, it's the most kingly version, right?
Yeah, and then he can pay for any of them for 0.
That is just ridiculous, isn't it? Like this card is like it's so strong. You don't even require a resource match.
At least you have to exhaust it, right? So you can't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you compare this to other factions like Era Valindil, this takes less setup, and there's no, instead of a bad thing, being engaged with enemies, you have a good thing, having attachments, and it's a lot easier to get those attachments down. Compare this to Era Valindil, and it's light years ahead in power level, in my opinion.
Yeah, and what's the Sylvan one? Olorien?
That's just -1, yeah.
Yeah, so this tops that too.
It does cost 2. Yeah, Lorien just 1, and so is to the sea is 1.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad they made it 2.
Yeah,
it is a challenge to get out on turn 1 in some cases.
If you get the right cards, you can get it out there. They're on turn 1, and you could potentially get an ally down as well.
But it's a trick. I like how they put Esgaroth hero in there.
Oh, so you can make Bard the Bowman King of Dale.
Yeah, they might give us another Esgaroth hero.
Liam was speculating about that earlier. I don't know any other Esgaroth characters.
Yeah, I'm guessing they probably.
What about that guy out of the movie?
The creeper guy?
Yeah, the guy they made up.
Yeah, please no.
Well, I don't have much else to say about that card, really.
Yeah, it's a centerpiece of the deck. You really want to find it. You run 3 copies, and you get free allies.
It goes in the Dale deck, right?
Yeah.
So are you guys like mulliganing hard for this? Is this what you, if you see this in your opening hand, no matter what anything else is, you're keeping that hand?
Yes and no. Most of the time, yes. But if I've got something that I want for the quest, then I probably won't actually. Like if I've got a sneak attack Gandalf and I want to kill something turn 1, that's probably the only situation I wouldn't mulligan for it. So yeah, 95% of the time you want to find this in your opening, I would say.
Yeah.
So as you're drawing your Dale deck, what are like the 2 or 3 cards that would be like, yeah, this is a good hand, I'm keeping this hand? King of Dale.
I would do a Lookout and a Sentry.
Yeah.
And maybe a 0-cost attachment.
Yeah, some form
or
of
even
attachment.
the map. It's okay.
I guess the last thing I just want to sort of just quickly touch on, which is probably really obvious, but I guess it allows you to spend most of your resources on the attachments rather than the allies. So the attachments are what are going to keep the Dale deck sort of functioning, keep it going. It's what the Dale deck's all about. You don't want to spend a lot of your percentage of your resources on allies or events. You heavily want to be spending in attachments. But to be able to put those attachments into play, you obviously need bodies to put those attachments on. And I guess this really just frees it up so that you can actually do that with by just making your allies cost nothing.
Yeah. Or you can get 2 allies out of turn, which is never bad either.
It's a really good point, actually. That does happen a lot to me. Like using those leftover resources to pay for things like Tests of Will. Very helpful. All right, shall we have a look at the Long Lake Trader?
Is this me, is it? Let me have a quick find. Long Lake Trader. Is this coming along with an attachment?
No, he's on his own.
On his Todd. Barrel attachment. Okay. This guy is a law ally. He costs 2. He's got 1 willpower, 1 attack, 0 defense, tasty 2 hit points. Dale, action, exhaust Long Lake Trader to move an item attachment from a character you control to another eligible character. So he is very much going to be a bit of a sort of support card, really, isn't he? He's you're not playing him for his stats. You're probably playing him for his action, and if you're not using the action, then I guess he's questing for 2 if you've got an attachment on him.
Mm-hmm. That's generally how I play him. You nailed it.
And I suppose the attachment you could put on him potentially is, if you didn't want to question him, you could put the bow on him and just nick someone for 1 damage.
I kind of use him as like an attachment bank. Like I'll put something on him just so I can draw the card again, keep the deck moving, and then just put it where I want it later on. Yep. So I put anything on this guy, really, generally.
Is the movement of attachments quite important then?
It is when I play it, because I'll put attachments out kind of suboptimally, like on the wrong allies, if I put them in the best place I can, knowing that I can fix it later with this dude when he shows up.
It makes a big difference. You can really get you don't get bogged down being an armor in your hand, ready to put, because you're afraid you can't get it on the right guy. So it keeps the deck moving.
Yeah, it keeps you drawing cards as well through your hero. Yeah, because I mean, I guess that is a really sort of valid point, like sort of like that worry, isn't it? When you've got like, I know this attachment works, so this, I know this attachment works really well on this particular ally, and a good example of that would be the leadership ally in this pack. Like you want to put the mail on him, don't you? Really?
Yeah.
And if you've got the mail in your hand, but you want to just cycle through your cards, you just want to sort of get some attachments out, get a bit more willpower on the board, then yeah, just whack it on this guy, fix it when you do find that sort of annoyance of finding the attachment before the ally is not really there anymore.
A lot of the time I end up with a map of Rhovanion on it that I later want to put on the spirit guy. Mm-hmm. And this is generally my way of doing that. So I've seen a few people saying that they don't find him that useful, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of baffled by that. But if you don't have enough card draw, he might feel, say you've only drawn 10 cards, or you've only seen 10 cards, 12 cards, and you see this guy as your first, second ally without any hope of getting tons of cards in your hand to get more allies out. He's a bit lackluster if you don't have anybody to move stuff out around on. But if you have a nice Dale going, he's great.
Yeah, he's certainly not impactful. He's certainly not going to make the table shake when he hits the board, you know what I mean? But
yeah, getting one of those sentries out is certainly more, it's safer.
Yeah.
Like if you have 2 defenders but only 1 hauberk who can defend, just throw the hauberk from one guy to the other and get a solid defense out of both of them. Same thing with another armor or weapon attachment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't. I tried to do that with a bow, and then I realized you need to exhaust the bow.
Right.
So it doesn't work. That was a sad moment. What do you think about him?
You could. Oh, yeah, it has to be ready, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, you have to exhaust the bow. Is there a way to ready it? I don't think there is.
Oh, you could move the bow, even though it's exhausted, and then give your other Warrior of Dale the +1.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Ranged.
Yeah, that's true.
You could potentially play item attachments using like discounts from other cards' abilities, and then move them around. and get more expensive attachments for cheaper onto other people that might have more benefit for it.
Yeah, like that. The tactics and the leadership have just drop stuff on them and then move around if you want.
Yeah, save a bit of money.
Generation. Yeah.
Definitely a support ally, though, like you said.
Yeah. Nice thing is he can quest for 2 if he has an attachment himself.
Mm-hmm. I've often used this guy for chumping as well.
Yeah, he's the guy to die if somebody asks him.
Yeah. Dive in that barrel. He looks quite hipstery as well, I've got to say. Hipster nose.
He's also got like a little brooch thing on and stuff. Like, he loves it. A little bum bag. That's a fanny pack.
All right, shall we look at the Necklace of Girion?
Oh boy, we could get controversial here, I think.
Oh, okay. I wonder why. This is your card.
All right, Necklace of Girion. Unique and neutral, 1 cost. It's an attachment, but it also is guarded by enemy or location. That means when you pay for it, you put it in the staging area and you discard cards from the top of the deck until an enemy or location comes out. Then you add that card to the staging area, guarding this card. Is that all right?
I think so, yeah.
So that would avoid surges, etc. Attached to hero. Attached hero gets +2 power and collects an additional resource during the resource phase.
Okay, so why is this controversial then, do you think?
Well...
You hate it, don't you? Say it.
I don't hate it. I think it's a really...
This is the worst
good card, but it's one of those win more. It has a potential to be a win more card. I think it's really fun to take that gamble early game and take it, but I find myself not taking that gamble in the early game more often than not and playing it mid game. I think the best thing about it is it's just a substitute. It's for Steward of Gondor, which I really like. It's some extra resource acceleration that's neutral that you have to actually work for, but it's not a early game boost either. So
yeah, I thought you were going to say something else.
Okay.
I thought there was some other thing coming because I actually do. I've played with it a little bit, and I feel like it is a win more card. If you're going to get that out, you're already winning. So it's taking you further there with +2 willpower and another resource. If you can already clear out that enemy,
or location.
But if it's turn 1 and you do like roll the dice in effect, put this out, get a bit lucky, get a location that you can clear or an enemy that you can handle, then that will set you up for such a strong game. It will be really get an extra resource and 2 willpower on a hero, right?
Yeah,
that's gonna make a huge difference for the game, really. But you're right in the fact that you are rolling dice. It's like you could very easily just have to scoop. You flip a guarded enemy and it's like, well, I can deal with this. This is the worst enemy that could have come out, or this is the hardest location that could have come out. I mean, it's like you're adding that RNG level to what is quite already heavy RNG anyway. It is definitely a card that you're rolling the dice with, but I quite like it. Just being like, I can imagine as well in multiplayer, it probably being more like stronger because you've got more opportunity across the table for everyone to sort of chip in and get rid of that guy, or that location.
Yeah, I agree. We had an entertaining moment my last game day where I had this in my hand. I looked at the game state as first player. It came down to the 4th player, played it, and goofed up our staging area. Gave us another troll or something crazy.
So it can backfire by the sign of it.
Oh, yeah.
It worked out. We managed. I was conservative to a fault, and I had lost my opportunity.
I suppose you could combine it with a little bit of scrying to make sure that whatever's coming up next is something you want on it.
That's a good
But
point.
then it starts getting quite expensive to do that then, doesn't it? It starts costing a lot more card slots, a lot more resources, and it's a bit like...
But I suppose it might be a good include for a scrying deck.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you saying my name? Because I've got one.
Yeah.
I think this is really awesome on Leadership AMR. That's the hero I want to put this on.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's so flawed anyway. He really needs to come up to par.
Free action with extra resource. Nice.
Yeah.
I assume that this is the case, but like if someone else kills the enemy guarding the artifact, they don't get it, right? You still get it.
No, you get it because you own it. It belongs to you.
It's your card. even if it's in their play area because they're engaged with the enemy.
Yeah, sorry, Liam, you can't do that to me. I see your plan.
Damn it. Maybe.
Just checking the rules there.
Just want to just be really just clear, you know?
I threw one of these in a Dale deck, and along with the Calabrian Stone, if you put that and this on one of these Dale heroes, they're questing 7. Because I got the +1 from per hand, then +2 and +2. It's kind of fun.
Do you reckon this guarded keyword's going to come out more then? Do you reckon there's a powerful card? Because they obviously think that guarded as a keyword is extremely an extremely expensive cost to a card, don't they? So many costed this at 1, and all of this for 1 is like, yeah. So guarded is obviously a keyword that they value quite high. Like, it must be worth like 3 at least, right? So do you think there's going to be many more guarded?
My impression was they were going to release a few more in this cycle when they announced this one, but I don't know if that was just my assumption or if that was from something they actually wrote. I'm guessing we'll get 2 or 3 more this cycle.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Is this one of the treasures that the dragon that had? I assume it is, right? The Necklace of Girion.
Smaug?
Yes. Was it one of Smaug's treasures?
I think it was. Girion was a king of Dale. Marvelous piece of jewelry originally owned by Girion, Lord of Dale. Prior to the coming of Smaug, Girion had traded the necklace to the Doors at Arrow in exchange for, sounds like a mithril coat. Coat was given to Girion's son.
In exchange for a really great coffee machine to make espressos.
The necklace became part of Smaug's hoard after the dragon.
So, good guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Smaug had everything back then. And surely, like,
threw it all away.
Erev turned the Arkenstone to the door and Bard got the necklace back. So the dwarves kind of swapped, it sounds like. I wonder if we'll get a Arkenstone in this cycle. Guarded.
Ooh.
That'd be cool. Calling it.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Bard gave the emeralds to the Elven King. So to
just the emeralds? Just the emeralds? It's like
that's what it
knocking
says.
them out of the necklace. Yeah. You wanted the necklace,
no.
right? Douchebag. What a douchebag move.
I saw somebody who said this necklace does not have 500 emeralds on the picture. Credit to that guy. I'm not sure who it was. Sorry, whoever that was, but
good call.
Good call. Good counting.
Maybe on the back though, it's just completely crusted with emeralds. Really small ones though. small cheap ones, just so they can make the numbers up. But so to me, this card in this pack is the most splashable card, right? You're putting this in other decks, sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This isn't a Dale thing. This is going in other decks for sure.
I don't think Dale even needs it.
No, they don't. Hey, this is really good on Leadership Aragorn.
Yeah, all those leadership heroes.
For free. Yeah,
they eat resources. Yeah, all those resource eaters. This is.
You are sort of. It's kind of funny though, isn't it? Because if you put it in a deck, you might put it in a deck that can really handle enemies. So you might put it in a deck that is like a Duoden deck, so you can get a lot of little combos out when the enemy comes out, engaging them, getting other characters into play, things like that. But you are rolling the dice. What if it gets attached to a location? Likewise, you put it in a heavy support like Spirit deck that's going to be questing heavily, controlling all the locations, loads of ways to destroy the locations specifically in the staging area that you want to target, and then bang, an enemy comes out. So it is very sort of risky, but the reward is clear. I think you're right in the sense that you're saying it's sort of like a mid game, but if you got it early game, you're laughing. Mid game, you're very happy. End game, then it is a bit like, what's the point? It's the end of the game.
I guess I'll qualify what I said earlier. Some quests, first couple turns are really easy. Like even that Ruins of Belagos, the first turn is always easy. There's not much out there, so you could, if in those quests, you could play this turn 1 and it wouldn't hurt too bad.
Yeah.
But in most quests, the first 2 turns, you don't have enough characters on the board to deal with everything. So I like the card. I think it's well designed. I just don't think it's the magic card that's going to make everything easier again.
But I think going back to your point there, I think that just proves how well, it's not a card that's just going to be in every single deck and everyone's
Magic Ring.
Exactly. And everyone's like, oh man, I read it's unique first. I'm going to be the first one to play it. It's not going to be like that type, but it's going to be a card that has got its advantages and it's got its.
You might be really angry at somebody if they play this down, though, when you're struggling.
Yes.
Like, that's the only thing that could happen here.
Yeah, it makes for some interesting multiplayer interactions.
Yeah, can I play my necklace? No, not allowed.
Well, back to that situation. I chose not to.
Yeah.
I think we could really afford it, and then somebody else did it.
It fits nicely in the troll deck, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like wait until someone else's player one refused to engage any enemies.
All right, Traffic from Dale is a 1-cost leadership event, and it reads planning action. Choose a Dale hero you control. Add 1 resource to its pool for each character you control with a player attachment. You can only play 1 copy of Traffic from Dale each round. So we're back to cards that go in Dale decks now.
It didn't take long.
No, it didn't. It did it. Only 1 card. Brief intermission there. So this card, when this was spoiled, I looked at it and thought, meh, bit crap.
Mm-hmm.
But this is killer. This can
insane.
generate some serious cash. Early game, really good just to get 1 or 2, just to help get that foothold. Late game, you're talking 8 to 10 resources most of the time.
Which is, I don't know if there's any other card that will give. Well, the only thing I can think of would be We're Not Idle, which has been nerfed to level 3, basically.
Yeah, most of the time I find myself hard casting Gandalf this.
Yeah.
Just to get myself out of a spot. Kill an enemy or lower my threat.
Yeah, this is really good.
It's interesting.
So you don't even need to run Steward in a Dale deck if you're brave enough.
Yeah, because when you said when you first read it, you were thinking it was a bit meh, but I kind of was thinking the same. Like not meh, I was thinking it was like probably going to get you like maybe 3 or 4 resources, but it sounds like it's going to be really racking the money up later. And it does cost 1. That is something.
I think that's good though.
Yeah,
because you have to kind of plan for it. Yeah, it is kind of a bummer if you spend your leadership resource. I found where this goes really crazy is if you run a good card draw, you exhaust your deck, then you do the West, and then you're just cycling your events, basically, and your duplicates or whatever.
Or your Gandalfs.
Yeah, and then you're cycling your sneak attacks and your Gandalf, and you can just go insane in the last few turns of a game if it goes up to 10 turns or so. This thing just... Yeah, I had like 40 resources on. Just because I wanted to see if I could do how many I could.
I haven't quite got that high yet. I think I've run out of tokens.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's one other thing this is good for, and it is if you get a couple of cheap attachments and this turn 1, you can use it to gain 2 resources on Bard and play King of Dale. That's something I've done with this card, which is really helpful. So it's good throughout the game.
Right. Yep, it's good early game. Really helpful game and crazy bombers. But I'm glad it's limited to Dale, so it won't pop up everywhere.
And it kind of speaks to that goal of spreading the attachments around, which is what the Dale deck does at the moment. But there's an ally coming up in the next pack who I think might be a little bit different. So it'll be interesting to see whether this card feels good with the allies that come out in future still. Anything else to say about this?
Good in a Dale deck.
So the next card is Liam's. It's 2 arms.
2 arms, did you say?
Yeah.
Not 3 arms.
2 arms, yeah. 2 arms!
2 arms. TWO, yeah? I have 2 arms!
He does.
It's a really anticlimactic card. It's
yeah. Like 4 candles.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 arms, exclamation mark, is a 0-cost spirit event, and it's action. Choose an ally with a player attachment. Ready that ally. Pretty okay, right? I mean, readying an ally for an extra defense, maybe an extra attack. It's pretty sweet, right? It's 0 cost, so it's not going to cost you anything.
And what do you think of it? Yeah, I think it's pretty low impact. I don't run it myself.
I haven't made myself put it in a deck yet. I mean, the biggest problem with it is it takes a slot. Free is good, but Spirit isn't the greatest sphere for it. It kind of pushes you to put it in a Dale deck because most of your big allies you want to use multiple times or leader tactics or leadership and a bigger ally, right? Although Jubera's spirits, that's something. But I mean, there's a leadership 1-cost event that does the same thing, except it's ready any ally.
Yeah, if it was heroes as well, then it would probably be quite a bit better. It is frustrating that it's just allies, but I can see ready in sort of like the defender again being quite useful.
Mm-hmm. But it's just that card slot. I mean, if you can get the defender for 0 resources with the King of Day, why would you not just run another defender?
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of how I feel as well.
That is true.
If they just added draw a card, then I'd like
it. Anything that draws cards. I'm just trying to think. This is quite splashable, I guess. You don't need to be playing Dale to run this, but I'm struggling to think of any other times I really want to do it. I mean, I suppose we already mentioned Defender of Ramas with a Raymond on him.
I suppose maybe like if you really want card draw, you could like ready your Legolas ally, or if you've got a strong Boromir ally, you could ready him maybe. But again, it's the wrong sphere to do that in. You don't often have you don't have those allies in decks that have a spirit hero.
And you have to have attachments on them, so you got to listen. There's not many attachments you can.
Although I would say Boromir and Legolas often do have attachments on them. Those two allies in particular do.
Those are good choices.
Yeah, but
you have to set up the combo to be able to play it, and it takes the card slot. It's a one-time thing.
You have kind of sold me on this being a little bit shitter than I thought initially.
I do like the beard though. Look at that forked beard. That's a good beard.
That is a good
piece of art.
I picked up the card just now, and it's dark in my apartment. It looks like he's poking him in the crotch with that spear. He's withdrawing the spear, but it looks like he's plunging it into him. The guy's just gone like that.
More phallic symbolism there.
Oh yeah, and the horn and the sword.
Anyway, I'll try to put this in some deck sometime, but it's certainly not a top tier card in the deck in that box.
No, and there's a lot. To be fair, there's a lot of competition for. But would you even give it the caveat of good in a Dale deck?
I think it's okay. It's just not very impactful.
Okay in a Dale deck.
Yeah. Okay in a Dale deck. Mediocre at best in a Dale deck.
Potentially goes in a Dale deck. Can I say that?
Not bad in a Dale deck. It will work in a Dale deck.
Yeah. There are worse options in Dale decks.
Look at the old man though. Doesn't it look like he's in pain? Sorry, I'm confused by it.
I like the fact that he's just like scratching his wrist. Like that made it onto artwork. It's sort of like, oh, what can he be doing? You know when you just get like a scratch, a little itch in your wrist?
Just letting go of it.
Just happens. It happens.
What about the dude in the background, right? He's scratching it.
Both of them, both the old guy and the old guy.
Just buckling his helmet.
The guy in the background scratching his knuckles. What weapon am I getting? What's Father Christmas got for me?
Just scratchy hand card.
Just Dale full of eczema.
Okay, moving swiftly on.
2 arms and itchy skin, right? The next card before getting more.
Yeah, so this is yours, Joseph.
Valor of the North 0-cost event in the tactics sphere. Response after a character is declared as an attacker or defender against an enemy with an attachment. That character gets +3 attack and +3 defense until the end of this attack.
So can I just clarify something real quick on this card? Am I reading this right and thinking that it is an attachment on the enemy, not an attachment on your ally or hero?
Yes.
So we're talking traps and things like that.
Yeah, traps or encounter deck attachments. Like the first quest in this box has the frenzied creature attachment. So you have like swords that get
they got the riders as well, haven't they? The riders for the wargs and things like that.
Yeah, in the last cycle, there's the Uruk. No, it's Mordor Warg.
Right,
Mordor Warg. Yeah.
So it's kind of a niche card at this point, but I'm wondering if we'll get more either encounter attachments or card attachments enemies during the. But it still has. I mean, +3 attack and defense is pretty huge, and good for Hero Grimbeorn, right? Because he can Well, I guess till the end of this attack. I was wondering if
I don't think it combos with him actually, because I think the attack is after he defends, so they're two different things. It was a bit lame actually. I wish it did combo.
That'd be awesome. Although I don't think Grim Baron needs that much help.
No, I don't think it's very good, to be honest. It's not enough impact for me.
I think it'd be really good in some quests, but it's too niche to be included in a deck that goes for a lot of different quests.
Would you include it in a sort of trap decks are now beginning to splash a lot of tactics traps, potentially more coming this cycle? Do you think it's going to go in something like that, maybe?
The other traps, they either stop that. You don't really need that much help, like entangling nets, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's good tech against quests that counter deck attachments on an enemy. Other than that, I don't see it being a really strong card yet.
I suppose it speaks to depth of the card pool when that's something that needs to be put onto a player card, You know those quests when when enemies pick up attachments? Oh, yeah.
Right.
Here's a card for it. Right, okay. Cheers. Just what I've been waiting for.
Yeah. +3 is pretty good, and +3 defense is too niche to be awesome. The other good combo to build into a deck with this would be Secret Vigil, right? You want to kill that enemy.
Yeah, Secret Vigil's a good shout. Bit of a weird card, to be honest.
I'm just guessing we'll see some more attachments that will go on enemies this cycle. This might get a little better.
Yeah.
I wish it was until the end of the phase.
That would be nice.
But I guess it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense with the trigger and it would be overpowered. But it reminds me a little bit of Unseen Strike, this card. You get +3 attack against an enemy with a higher engagement cost than your threat, I think, until the end of the phase.
I like that card.
Yeah, and that doesn't see much play. So I feel like this won't either. Just poo-poo it. I'm going to poo-poo it hard. I don't usually poo-poo stuff too hard, but this one I'm poo-pooing, sorry.
Yeah, I hope they make this better by other stuff they release later, but right now it's pretty niche.
Well, the next card is the last card. So shall I read it out?
Go for it.
All right, this is Bartering. It is a lore event. 0 cost. Planning action. Choose a ready player attachment on a character you control. Return that attachment to its owner's hand to reduce the cost of the next attachment played this phase by X, where X is the chosen attachment's cost. Interesting card.
It looks weird, but it actually turns out pretty good in my experience. So, Steward of Gondor is one of the best of this because often you get your Steward of Gondor out, you get your boost, you get your deck going, and then you can afford to get rid of it, right? So you pull it back and you give it to somebody across the table, get their deck going. That's been awesome in a couple of situations I've played it.
Yeah, there's so many little things you can do with this. I must admit, when I first saw it, I thought, what is that for? But in a Dale deck, this functions a lot like the Trader, because you can just pull an attachment back if it's on the wrong guy, and then play it again for free, basically, and you replace this card. You replace Bartering by drawing a card. That's one reason it's awesome. Another one is because you can get first turn Steward of Gondor or King of Dale if you play any one cost attachment that isn't Spirit. Like if you play Protector of Lorien, you play that down, draw a card, bring Protector of Lorien back to hand with Bartering, and then play King of Dale for -1 and draw a card. So it gets silly when you get these little combos going like that. So this card is amazing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Does it work in any other decks?
I think it could. I thought of those that could facilitate. I haven't tried them yet.
So I think somebody on Twitter pointed out that this works really well with Tactics Beragond, because you basically get the attachment for free and then you can bounce it back to hand, and that reduces the next one by 2, and you play that on somebody else. If you see what I mean?
Or you could play a Raven Winged Helm for free, back to your hand. Play a Citadel Plate for free. Beragond, Raven Winged back on.
Yep.
This is one of those cards where there's going to be a lot of funky combos, and I think there will be more in the future as well, especially when more items come out, more attachments come out.
One of the confusing things with this box is some cards are limited to items, some are just attachments, some are ready, some are not. This one isn't linked to item. It can be any attachment.
Yeah, some are weapons, some are, there's
Yep.
loads of like, it's very quite, you got to make sure you read all your cards like pretty well when you're playing your Dale deck, I guess. So I might struggle a bit, but.
For the first little bit, I had to keep reading, but then you just start to know the card.
Yeah.
First time I played it, I lost against Passage Through Mirkwood.
It can happen.
It can. Well, it happened to me. I thought, maybe this deck's not very good, but I tried again and it was fine. So you definitely need one game at least where you go, okay, how do these cards work together exactly?
Mm.
The day that the one deck came out, I sat down and threw it against Passage Through Mirkwood, and I just got eaten up by direct damage and lost.
This must be the rite of passage for any new deck. It must lose against Passage Through Mirkwood on the first attempt.
No, it doesn't say anything about that deck in that situation.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. It can get you, though. You're right.
Yep. I'm glad it can.
Yeah. About this card, this one's got some very interesting hair. Like
an
hairstyle. Is that an Egyptian hairstyle on this trader?
I thought it was an elf at first, but that's a very round ear. But it's a super round ear.
The guy who's making the purchase, he looks potentially meme worthy. You know the meme, like you can't lose the game if you don't play the game. I feel like this guy is thinking along a similar line, like, can't sell the sheet if I don't buy the sheet.
I'm happy to report that I have not seen this hairstyle in Portland yet. So,
what about that hat?
I have seen that hat.
I own that hat.
Wait, this guy then must be the ultimate hipster if he's ahead of Portland.
Yeah. I think I've seen that red fuzzy shirt too, but not the hair.
Another stunning beard here as well on the guy on the right.
Fantastic. Another person touching their beard as well. Like.
I was just going to say that we've gone full cycle. Perhaps that is Brand, son of Bain, out and about in the city.
Can't quite see his legs to see if there's tribute.
He is shorter than the trader.
Got to find a full art.
Maybe he hasn't got any legs.
Anyway, I really like this card too. I think it's interesting. It's really unique in the card pool. You can do some fun things with it. And it's just straight up good in a Dale deck as well.
Yeah, really nice little glue card. Like that one.
Yep.
Well, we have reached the end of the box. We finally did it.
That was too much fun.
Thoughts on the box overall before we wrap up?
I think it's an excellent box. I really like it. I think it's really nice that it's kind of self-contained, that a lot of these cards all go together, and you can build a strong deck that all works together. I think this is the strongest case of that we've ever seen. I mean, we have Steward's Fear with Outland, so I think a better product than that. I think the quests are good and replayable, and they aren't too hard, so you can play a wide variety of decks against them, and I love it.
That's about as good as it can get, I'd say.
I think so. Game's dying.
I love this pack as well, and I think if you're a player, for whatever reason you've listened to like a 2-hour podcast on Cycle 6, but then you've got one or two courses, one course out there. This pack just goes straight in from here. Buy this, and then you can start wherever you want after that. But this is a great pack for like a midpoint and a bit of an interim point for people who are just playing the game brand new, or for people like us who have all the cards. This is a great little set of cards for a brand new deck, a Dale deck. I haven't got it yet. I'm super looking forward to getting it and cracking it open, and I think I'll be playing a fair amount of Dale as it comes on through the cycle.
And speaking to that, I just want to highly recommend Brian's deck. He's probably not going to push it too hard, but I'm going to. It's just, you can find it on Rings DB Starter for Dale, single core plus Wilds of Rhovanion, or deck 9011. It's a really strong deck. I've beat a bunch of quests with it, and so has Ryan. It's really fun to play, and you only need one core and the box, and you'll be good to go for a bunch of quests. Even beat 3 trials, difficult quests like that. So if you want an easy deck to build, I used an extra core I had, and I bought a second copy of this Rhovanion, and I just can keep that deck around permanently, pretty much. So I can just grab it, let somebody else use it, or just need a multiplayer deck. It works too. So I highly recommend this deck built out of this box.
As long as you like losing passage to Mirkwood on the on the first go. After that, it's fine.
Yep.
It doesn't stop winning after the first one.
Lost passage to Mirkwood, but then went on to Nightmare. Pretty well.
Haven't quite got that far yet. Yeah, well, I can only really agree with everything you just said about the box. That is not the deck. Because the deck's really the work of the design team. I had nothing to do with it. I just sort of looked at it and went, yeah, I'll put all the good cards in one deck and see if it's any good. And it was.
It is.
So that's their work.
So good job, design team. Very happy. Thank you.
And I guess we'll convene again in a year for the next pack.
Mm-hmm.
So see you there, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.